Watch you crazy cats, and welcome once again to Dazzle Rebel Rides. Now today is day 3 of my motovlogging advent calendar, and yesterday was my long-term review of my Kawasaki ER6. So today, rather than looking back at an old video, this being Tuesday as well, so this is my normal motovlogging day, I've got a brand new video for you, which is essentially me saying sayonara to the Kawasaki ER6. So without further ado, here's the video. Watch you saucy folks, and welcome to Dazzle Rebel Rides. Today might well be my last ride on the Kawasaki ER6. So it's April the 3rd, I think it is today, yeah, April the 3rd, and the weather all of a sudden has got freezing again. Typical, isn't it? So we've had some lovely days where I've taken the Indian and, well, both Indians out, the Indian and Chief and the Indian Scout. But now on my possible last ride on the Kawasaki, I don't like saying last ride because it feels like I'm not going to ever ride anything again, but it's my last ride on this particular bike, possibly. It's turned into the weather that I know and don't really love from when I used to use this bike as a daily hack through all weather. It may look sunny out, but it's bloody cold and there's patches of black ice on the floor, and for some reason my pin lock stopped working. One saving grace about this bike is the Oxford hot grips I've got installed. These, on a cold day like today, oh, they're beautiful. I am wearing my Gerbring heated gloves, but I've got no power supply on this bike. It stopped working, so I took it off. So they're not plugged in, and I don't have a battery pack for them either. So I'm relying on the hot grips, and so far they're doing a not bad job at all. There you go, a 20-mile-an-hour race with a sit-on lawnmower. That's something that if you're not from the UK you might find a bit strange, is a lot of these side roads are turning into 20-mile-an-hour zones. I can understand why, especially around schools. It keeps the speeds down, and if there is any collision between a car and a kid, it's not going to be as bad as if it hits at 30, but overall we are quite draconian with our speeding laws, especially on the open roads and arguably motorways. Also, a lot of local authorities do tend to use it as, and I'm going to be cynical here, as money-making schemes rather than actually preventing accidents, because I have noted that these non-fixed cameras, so not the ones that are put up everywhere like the average speed cameras we've got everywhere in Nottingham, you've also got a mobile camera unit which often sits in places obscured from view, and many times in places where I've actually researched and there has been no accidents at all. So call me cynical, but that's reeks of a money-making scheme, especially when they hide themselves. Tell you what, as much as I love being on a motorcycle, I am pretty glad that I've got 4 wheels these days for commuting, because I can't be arsed with it anymore, if I'm absolutely honest with you. Even on a day like today where it's cold, but it's decent visibility, half the cars just don't expect to see, and they pull out on you like that f***ing idiot. and I just can't be arsed with it. It's much nicer to go out and ride for pleasure than it is because you have to. That said, when you can do things like this and then when you can do things like this, all of a sudden I remember why I love commuting on a motorcycle. I suppose it's a love-hate relationship I have with commuting on bike. I mean, doing this is fantastic. You do have to really keep your wits about you though, because some people are absolutely and they'll just turn into your path just to stop you coming past. Thank you. Some will move out the way like that, but all in all, yeah, you do have to be very careful. People changing lanes, some people dive out the way like that, which is really cool. Thank you. Other people won't even look behind them and shift lanes. So it is a mentally exhausting thing. When you've got a gap like that, you've got to just check there's nobody coming to fill it. But I suppose when you've had to commute, when you've not had the option of doing anything but riding by bike through all kinds of weather, when there's snow on the floor, when there's wind blowing at 80, 90 mile an hour gusts, when there's driving rain coming down into your face, when there's lightning, those days are not pleasurable. Thank you. Well, I've done this trip many times before. It's been quite a while since I've done it on the Kawasaki though. This is probably the last time. If you're wondering why I'm selling the Kawasaki, I've done about 300 miles on it since last year. So it's nothing at all, it's not getting used. I've fallen out of love with it. It's when you've ridden the Indian Scout and the Indian Chief and you got them in your stable as well. This Kawasaki ER6, although it makes a perfect first big bike for someone or a perfect commuter, I don't know, generally speaking, it's I've fallen out of love with it because I don't know, it just doesn't give me a thrill anymore. Like when I ride it, I just don't feel in love with it like I used to. On top of that, the 300 miles I've done since last year, you know, that's got to play an effect with it as well. I don't know, and the other thing as well is I actually want to put whatever money I make out of this, well, not whatever money, some of the money I make out of this, into a new project. Now, if you've been following me on Instagram, you might know what that is. If not, then make sure you hit that subscribe button to find out, because this is quite a fun little project, and it is a little project, but more on that another time. Well folks, this is my last ride on the Kawasaki ER6. This bike and me has some very, very fond memories, but I've done 500 miles in the last 2 years on it, which tells me that I'm just not using it. So it is a sad day, but it is time. It's time to let go. End of an era. I've had this bike from brand new. It's seen me through numerous winters. It's been my travelling buddy through various different adventures. Oh dear, it's been emotional. Funny, isn't it? This is my last ride before I sell her, and I'm actually enjoying it more now than I have done in the last 2 years. Typical, that, isn't it? Even though it's just a short trip down the road, Thank you, old friends. You've been good to me. You've been very good. But somebody else will love you more than I currently can. Thank you. May someone give you a better home. Look after her. For now though, remember, if you like to ride, be sure to subscribe, hit that like button if you do so wish, leave me some comments, and I'll see you next time. Bye.